Alrighty, Alex, here is that game. Quick kind of recap of what happened in the prior moments to this. So this guy, he's playing OKW. I saw he had his battle group headquarters, which is his medic group, basically. It's how he heals his units, how he reinforces his units. He can even set up a retreat point if he needs to. Basically, I saw that. I put my two AT guns, you can see them up here. I put my two AT guns on that, trying to destroy it. His teammate countered with light artillery barrage right in this area, which is where my AT guns were set up, as well as these units. So my two AT guns and these three units, I retreated to heal up to where my major is set up as the retreat point, and my ambulance is a forward, basically reinforcement and healing station. And so I'm playing Airborne, and the US Airborne is some of the best infantry in the game if you can keep them alive. This one maybe showed up like 30 seconds ago, so it hasn't done a whole lot yet, but this one has been around for a couple minutes. It's got 11 kills that you can see. And so I have basically decided, after how bad I did in the early game and how many mines this guy was placing right here, I think he had one right here. I caught a couple of them with my teeth. But I basically decided, you know what, I'm not going to even bother trying to navigate these hedgerows, these streets, these terrible fucking flanks with a tank. You can see I have it unlocked. I obviously have my major. I don't have the manpower for it right now because I just reinforced all those units that retreated from that light artillery barrage. But basically I've decided, you know what, I'm going to take the risk of bleeding out manpower and just fighting him with infantry. So far this guy has been pretty lackluster with his vehicles. This flak half track died to my 50 cal machine gun that was in this house. That I've now moved to this one. You can see, let's go to him. He's got 3 kills and one of them's a vehicle. So he killed the half track by himself. Machine gun versus a flak half track. But basically what he has done, the guy I'm playing on this side of the map, the OKW player, he has decided, you know what, this motherfucker's going nothing but infantry, so I'm going to counter with the best anti-infantry tank in the game. The Sturmtiger, super slow. It's a call-in unit. You click the button and it's on the field. It costs 620 manpower and 180 fuel. So it's a pretty big investment, but if it's used right, it can really, really pay off. Another thing you might notice is that the pop caps. This guy has 36 out of 100 filled. This unit itself is worth 18. So half of his army is right here. His 2 other squads are really low. I don't know that right now. I don't know how low his army is. I was getting absolutely pummeled for the first 15 minutes of the game. I haven't lost any units yet, but... Oh, take that back. I lost my captain. But other than that, I don't think I've lost any units. But I thought he was doing a lot better than he was. This was kind of the turning point once I got my paratroopers out. I ended up going with that second AT gun because I was like, I'm not going tanks. I need to make up for not going tanks. So 2 AT guns, that's going to be the difference maker right there. Got some bazookas, I got Thompsons, I've got some bars on my riflemen. So I've got the weapon upgrades on my infantry. It's a gamble, but it can work. I also have the pack howitzer because he had a lot of machine guns in the early game. And so that was my way of dealing with machine guns from distance. You can just blow them up, or you can fire a smoke barrage at them so they can't suppress your units. But I don't know he has a Sturmtiger yet. It's about to roll onto the field. You can kind of hear it coming.
Krauts are sniffing around our asses. Tactical point being captured.
You can hear it. So I see it with my paratroopers to begin with. I don't want to lose these guys because they're 380 manpower. I thought it was going to shoot, so I retreated. So now he's going to see that I've got nothing up here right now. And he's going to do something he should never, ever, ever do. He's going to bring in a tank unsupported. It's got nothing with it. No infantry. He's got 1 squad right there. That's it. So I penetrated with my AT gun. I've got my bazookas chasing after because this thing has to be stationary to fire. So what I'm going to do is keep all of my infantry coming at it, kind of baiting him with this squad, you know, sending these ones around. And in the meantime, I'm bringing this AT gun over to the street. Now, that first AT gun, if you remember, this one right here, it penetrated. So when a tank gets damaged, you can throw these anti-tank rifle grenades at it. I guess Russians throw them, USF shoots them. But if the tank is damaged and these penetrate, then you'll get a wounded or destroyed engine. So it's a slow tank to begin with, but now it's even slower. And the way tanks sort of work is the lower they get, the higher chance of penetration you have. So this thing's at what, maybe 60% health already? And I'm keeping him sort of surrounded. I've got this echelon squad with bazookas that can come up. I've got this AT gun that's moving around. It's going to be set up here once it gets to where it's supposed to be. And I've got these guys coming in behind. And look at this. He's got nothing in the area to stop this. What can one squad do? This tank can't stop it because it's going to be spinning in circles. It can't fire it when it's moving. So I'm going to use another anti-tank grenade. I'm going to kind of keep these guys moving back and forth. I'm just trying to stay behind it. Oh, there's my AT gun. It's set up perfectly, right? So this tank, out of desperation, he hopes he can get one kill. He ends up getting 3 models. So the lesson to learn here is that never ever send a tank off on its own. You always need to have some sort of support. If he had any chance of making that engagement work, it was with supporting infantry. Another thing that's important is combined arms. I decided not to go tanks, which saved me a lot of fuel, but I don't need the fuel now because I'm not going tanks. It's going to cost me a lot of manpower because tanks, when tanks get hurt, they don't cost manpower to heal them back up, right? You have to just grab an engineer squad or a tank crew or a rear echelon to fix them up. But when units get hurt and lose health and drop models, that costs manpower, right? So this is a pretty manpower intensive build. Thankfully, I've got good combined arms. I've got 2 machine guns. One I stole from him. This is my 50 cal. I stole, where's that machine gun? Here's his machine gun that I stole earlier in the game that my pack howitzer had killed. And so I have my tank tech unlocked, but I'm using it as a forward retreat point and recon. That's it. That's all I'm doing with my tier 3 or tier 4, I guess, is purely recon and a retreat point. That's it. Like I said, in the beginning of the game, I didn't have probably any of that. I didn't own any of my side of the map. So I got off to a pretty nasty start against this guy. But just, stuck with it. Made sure to make good use of my combined arms play. Took advantage of my 50 cal's armor piercing rounds to take care of his early vehicles quickly. He had a machine gun in that house at the pack howitzer. It was back here at some point. Took care of that. Now, you might be asking, well, Josh, this is not a very good radius for your machine gun. It's not even covering this. It could get flanked really easy. Thankfully, my brother has a shit ton of mines as well. He's got a machine gun guarding that flank, so I don't really have to worry about it right here. This building would be better, obviously, but if you see how low this building is, it's gonna take maybe one more hit before it goes down. I don't even want to risk having a unit in there. If I'm off on this side of the map and he gets a grenade, gets a howitzer shot on it, it's gonna go down. I'm not gonna be able to get that unit out of there in time. This building is fairly full with health, so I'm just gonna keep it there. And I'll sacrifice the cone on my machine gun to just kind of protect the machine gun itself. I won't use half of it, but I know it's going to stay alive right there, and it's still going to be doing something. It's going to be guarding this flank pretty well. But yeah, bottom line is veterancy is so important. Every unit gets bonuses as they get veterancy. Combined arms, keeping your things split up. Like even this should be back here farther. You don't want this stuff together in case something starts attacking that. You want only one unit to get hurt. You don't want both of them. This machine gun could probably be in that building, but hindsight's 20/20. But yeah, never send tanks alone. Usually what I would do, I would go 1 AT gun, bazookas, bar riflemen, and I would go into a tank destroyer. But I mean, it's just such a hassle trying to navigate these small corridors with a vehicle, especially when somebody's placing mines. It's just, to be honest, I'm too lazy for that shit. I'm just gonna go infantry. I don't have to worry about it. If a mine goes off of my infantry, boo-hoo. 2 people die. I don't want to lose a tank, and I don't want to pay a bunch of attention to a tank and lose infantry. So I guess it's a weird strategy to go only infantry, but if you don't have to worry about tanks, you can focus more on your infantry. You're gonna bleed a lot more, but I guess I have manpower enough to spare. I'm keeping my units alive. You can see I've got the highest pop cap in the game right now. I didn't realize I was stomping this guy so bad at this point in the game. But yeah, it's just, don't send tanks alone. It's just stupid. AT gun to support it. And that's another thing too. Not only do you not want to send tanks in alone, if you're playing defensive, where can my tanks get hurt from? Where can my infantry get hurt from, right? So in this case, this guy's got, my brother's got his tank up here, and he's got a machine gun to protect this flank from infantry, so this tank can't get swarmed by infantry. The AT guns can't get disarmed because the machine gun. And he's got this flank protected by him. He should turn this actually to block that, because an infantry unit could sneak through that a little bit. But yeah, just support everything you can with other units. These units are not meant to move a whole lot, but that doesn't mean they can't. And the more angles you protect and the more types of defense you can set up and the more types of attack that you can throw at your opponent, and also have a way to retreat safely. So like he enters an engagement doing what you shouldn't do. He sends a tank in by itself, no infantry support. He's got the combined arms behind the tank, which kind of makes up for it. And he can retreat safely even though there's a tank coming in for rear armor hits because he's got this AT gun right here. This guy obviously realized it was too late, tried to get out this way. My brother was he had enough presence of mind to rotate this AT gun to get that kill. So good on him for that. But basically support, support, support. Never send units in by themselves. It rarely ends up without just retreating, best case scenario. Which is just a waste of time. You send a unit in, it might get a kill or two. It loses 2 or 3 models, and now you're retreated. What did you gain? You didn't gain anything. You traded kills. Now you're retreating a unit. That's one unit that's not on the field. So while you might be losing a game, or you might be thinking, I got to get back on the field, I need my units on the field, it's just like Overwatch, or any FPS. There's no point in sending in one guy. You're just going to be chaining the whole time. So, it's tough to do, but patience is so key of just let your units heal, let them get to full health, let them get, built up, regroup, come in and attack at multiple angles, support your infantry, support your tanks. And yeah, anyway, I thought that was funny that he spent that much and got one shot and it killed 3 people. And I didn't even have a tank to deal with it. So anyway, I hope that was kind of interesting. Hope you learned something, but anyway, I thought it was funny.